Welcome again, and thank you for joining us here on CNR Extra on Citi TV. The show, as always, is an interactive 440733 0204 440733. Alternatively, you can go on to any of our social media platforms because you are streaming in there, and leave your comments in the comment section, and then we will read them out to the rest of the world. Let me come in studio and welcome specially my colleague in the Citi newsroom, Jude Mensah Duncan, who is joining us today. And welcome to the show. It's been a we're on Nigeria earlier this week because days after their election, they've not been able to declare the result as at yesterday. Today we woke up to the news that they've elected. Bola has emerged winner of that particular election. We'll be getting into the Nigeria election shortly, but first, let's come home and deal with our Electoral Commission also, because yesterday, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jane Mensah, was in Parliament to brief the House on some concerns the minority especially has raised over the new constitutional instrument that seeks to make the Ghana card the sole document for voter registration.
Ahead of the 2024 polls. Now, briefing Parliament on the proposed constitutional instrument for the next general elections, the EC boss, Jane Mensah, said the CI seeks to promote continuous registration of voters and will allow for an all-year-round registration of eligible voters at its district offices. There is more in the following reports.
The Electoral Commission chairperson, Jane Mensah, appeared before the Committee of the Whole of Parliament on Tuesday to brief the House on its constitutional instrument that seeks to make the Ghana card the requisite document for registration onto the voters' register for the upcoming general elections. She justified plans by the EC to abolish the guarantor system.
For the first time in our history, we are mainstreaming the continuous registration of voters as part of our regular activities. A significant feature of this draft constitutional instrument is the proposal to adopt the Ghana card as the sole source of identification for any person who wishes to register as a voter. This implies that the guarantor system, which hitherto allowed a registered voter to vouch for the citizenship and age of prospective applicants, will no longer be relied upon as part of our registration exercise. The reason is that over the years, the guarantor system has presented of a national identification card, such as the one issued by the NIA. The challenge is twofold. First of all, it opens the door for registered voters or guarantor contractors to guarantee and vouch for persons who are less than 18 years old. Secondly, it allows usually minors and foreigners use the door of the guarantor system to try to get onto our register.
The National Identification Authority boss, Professor Kenneth Atifua, on its part, provided statistics on the number of Ghanaians enrolled onto its database and the need for a merger of data with the EC.
Based on the Ghana Statistical Service 2020 population and housing census data, approximately 31 million Ghanaians. There are approximately 31 million Ghanaians. Of this number, as I've indicated, 17,370,000 above. $1,861. The number of Ghanaians aged 18 years and above Captured in the database is 16.9 million. 16.9 million out of the 17.375 million. And the number of registered Ghanaians aged 18 years and above existing on the Electoral Commission's and 29,000. The number of Ghanaians aged 15 years and above who are yet to be captured out of the total population of 31 million is 2,205,005.
$100,000 of Ghana cards due to financial constraints.
The number of cards not yet printed, that is, persons who have registered, whose records are with the NIA, but whose cards have not yet been printed, stands at 541,529. Right Honourable Speaker, kindly permit me to explain that this figure, 541,529, represents the financial difficulties we have had lately, beginning approximately in July, August of last year. That resulted in the inability to get access to some three ordered into the country, which are currently in houses. Unable to access them because of financial constraints. The banks that have basically bankrolled, and it has become a bit of financial constipation, which has also given us some headaches. Right Honourable Speaker, the assurance we have for the people of Ghana has the technical and operational competence to print these 541,529 cards in record time.
Outstanding arrears owed the National Identification Authority.
We agreed on 100 million CD transfer, and as he rightly said, 80 million so we are very comfortable about the situation to ensure that the needed cards will be given to the NIA to do its work. Mr. Speaker, the government has been extremely good about funding elections, and once NIA's job is linked to the elections, Mr. Speaker, we can assure the House that we would ensure that the resources needed would always be provided.
Following the shortage of vaccines across the country, the Health Committee of Parliament invited the sector minister together with heads of agencies to brief the committee on the situation. But the chairman of the committee, Nana Ayew Afriye, announced that apart from the National Health Insurance Authority, the minister and other agencies had failed to honor the invitation.
Unfortunately for us this morning, the Minister of Health is not here. The Ghana Health Service is and we have the National Health Insurance Authority. I'm not aware of the reasons for the absence of the state agencies. I have just been on the phone with the Chief Director of the Ministry of Health and says that she sent a letter to the committee asking for a rescheduling of the date for 7th of March because of the unavoidable absence of the minister. And this is just a phone call that we just had. So I'm here to cite her letter. I can only speak to this as of now.
The former Minority Chief Whip and a member of the Health Committee of Parliament, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, described the gesture as disrespect against the minister to appear at 2 p.m. the same day.
Once you don't get them certain period, and you cannot easily correct. And if they are not lucky to get those diseases, you only do not lead to higher mortality, but then the scarce resources of the state will have to be used along the line in trying to rescue them, and they'll end up dying. So if such an important matter will come before the committee and the minister is invited and he doesn't show up, I just believe that Honorable Chair, I'm of the firm belief that this committee should issue a subpoena.
So that's it from the floor of legislature. Yesterday, the Electoral Commission chairperson, Jane Mensah, was in the House, and she briefed the members of Parliament there on why card as the sole document for voter registration. Well, the minority has been very vocal ever since the Electoral Commission raised this particular issue. Yeah. At the time, they said that there was no need for the Electoral Commission to compile a new register. But yesterday, the Electoral Commission chair reiterated the position that no, it is not as if they are abandoning the electoral roll that was used in the 2020 polls, but rather they are just adding on and ensure that people who did not have the chance to participate in the voter register do so. But the challenge has always been that so far as we still have challenges with the acquisition of Ghana card, it's practically impossible to pin the registration to the voter registration. And so the NIA has given assurances that they will collaborate with the electoral management body to ensure that the finance minister has also given that assurance that all the debt owed by the NIA will be cleared to pave way for. But it's quite difficult at this time because, look, we know the kinds of challenges we always face when it comes to voter registration. And for me, what struck me the most was the fact that the Electoral Commission chair actually said that the reason they are abandoning the guarantor system when it comes to voter registration, but they are for a voter card.
There's no doubt that going ahead with the proposed CI by the EC in its current form would disenfranchise a lot of Ghanaians, because, I mean, the ordinary Ghanaian would testify how difficult it is to get a Ghana card in the processes that it continues to be in its current state. So, I mean, those are my worry. But for me, really, looking at the problem at hand, for me, it appears the EC to a large extent with regards to its insistence ID card, to a large extent appears to undermine, for instance, very key state institutions like the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, like the Passport Office. What are they trying to, what message are they putting across with regards to the credibility of the process in getting a passport? And for me, it's very unfortunate, because if you look at the passport as we have it now, that's the Ghana passport, it's one of the very key documents of proving a nationality. All over the world. It's an accepted form of proving your nationality. For me, raises a lot of questions. It undermines the authority to a very large extent. Whatever the processes are in our it's quite unfortunate. But yesterday it was interesting. I don't want to go back to the constitutional debates the members of parliament were raising on the floor. Mahama Yarega, Dr. Dominic Ayine, Daffy Amepo, Roxanne Daffy Amepo. They put out these are very solid lawyers in their own right. yesterday was definitely that of Okujeto Ablakwa. I mean, some way, somehow, he found a way to bring the national of the Ghana card. So, I mean, his questions to the EC chair, to the finance minister and the NIA boss were apt in that, see, you need to show us proof that indeed you've paid these monies and that you are going to get the Ghana cards printed as promised, because in the past, some of the things you've said to have done in the house was necessarily not the case. So, trying to just say that the finance minister has not been particularly honest with Ghanaians, so we need a lot more proof to show that indeed monies have been paid for all the remaining Ghana cards to be issued out. So in the coming days, we'll hear a lot more of these, and we expect
so we are looking forward to. Sorry, Dr. Kisela Atoforsi, he even alleged that government has not paid some salaries and then it is using money to.
It was quite interesting.
It was quite an interesting debate in Parliament yesterday. We'll be bringing you more as the development goes on. But let's now move away from that and do some stories relating to Galamsey in the country, because government says it is not relenting on its effort to ensure that Galamsey kingpin Aisha Wan is prosecuted. If you think that government has slowed down on the conviction process, here's more.
The government has reiterated its commitment to prosecute Galamsey kingpin Aisha Wan. The Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abu Jinapo, who disclosed this, said that the prosecution is optimistic about securing a conviction to send a strong signal to all persons violating the nation's laws. There is more in this report filed by Citi News' Anne Shelley Ziu.
The Lands and of Chinese Galamsey kingpin Aisha Wan. Aisha Wan is being prosecuted by the state for sneaking at a Meet the Press series in Accra on Tuesday. Samuel Abujinapo said the prosecutor is pursuing the case relentlessly.
The matter to do with Aisha Wan, the prosecution is being waged in a very the state. It's called 5 witnesses as we speak, and the prosecution that the prosecution is being waged in a very spirited manner, because as we said from the very beginning, we want to prosecute this matter with the vigor that it requires, so that it will serve a clear signal both in the country and outside the country, and particularly the countries where we have most of the troubles when it comes to illegal small-scale mining, that Ghanaian law will be applied and applied to the letter. So be rest assured that the prosecution is being waged and being waged relentlessly. And we are hoping that when it's all said and done, we'll secure a conviction, and therefore justice will be done for the good people of Ghana. So
the minister also noted that despite government's effort at tackling illegal mining and its devastating effect on our water bodies, cartels are undermining the gains made so far.
Currently, reclamation is ongoing in over 1,000 hectares and is expected to provide training for some 5,000 youth in agriculture, technical, vocational, industrial, and mining skills. These gamut of measures have yielded some positive results, with most of our river bodies visibly clearing up and the turbidity levels improving. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not to suggest that we have rid our country of illegal mining. We have not. As we speak, the cartels involved in these illegalities continue to operate and are finding every means to outwit us. But we will to ensure that we can. Let me assure the country, on behalf of the President,
the sector minister was also hopeful surviving victims of the Apiate explosion will be moved back into their community before the end of the year. According to the minister, Phase 1 of the Apiate reconstruction project is 40% complete.
Following the tragic Apieti incident on 20th January 2022, government committed to reconstruct the community into a modern, green, and sustainable community as a model for rural development in our country. Construction began last year, and the first phase of the project is about 40% complete. This phase includes the construction of 102 a school block with sanitary facilities and the construction of roads within of the housing unit and a 6-unit classroom block are at different stages of completion, with some being roofed as we speak. We are hoping to move the victims of this tragic incident from their temporary accommodations back to their community before the end of the year. The recommendations of the Health and Safety Committee, established after the incident, chaired by the Vice-Chancellor of George Parr Grant University of Mines and Technology, UMAT, Professor Richard Amankwa, are also being implemented and has led to a lot of reforms in the sector. A comprehensive review of the regulations on explosives, the mineral 2012 LI21 has also been completed and will soon be laid before Parliament.
Well, so that's the update from the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources as far as the prosecution of Galamsey Queen Aisha Wan is concerned. And for me, I do not think that any Ghanaian will have serious qualms about any judicial process that will send that strong signal that, in fact, Ghana is not tolerating illegal mining as far as Galamsey is concerned. And so I just don't want to believe that this is going to be the usual talk shops at government to say that the process is ongoing and then at some point in time it will be abandoned. As to how far government really intends to deal with this situation once and for all.
There are no two ways about that, and I absolutely agree with you. I mean, they say the wheels of justice grind slowly, but also they also tell you that justice delayed is justice denied. So it's very important that government takes this very seriously, because I mean, if you consider everything that has happened, the first time she was left off the hook and wet economic gains whatsoever to be made from prosecuting Aisha Wan, then some way somehow this is where we send a strong signal. So I agree with you that we need to take some decisive action on it. Yesterday I listened to the minister. He said there's a spirited effort from government to ensure that she's prosecuted. But I believe that that kind of rhetoric really has not been matched with action. I mean, see, if government is interested in a particular case, you'd be able to tell. You would see it from how government even goes about its communication, its briefings, and what are information press briefing where the minister is supposed to come and speak on all the updates in the ministry for him to comment on this. We should be able to see active updates, briefings with regards to what government is doing, not only on the prosecution of Aisha Wan, but the broader scope of making sure that if he's able to, under his tenure, make sure that Aisha Wan is prosecuted, made to face the law, it will be the single most important step in our fight against Galamsey.
Exactly so. So we want to see some real actions from the words that the government has said, because you know that this particular case has been traveling for some time now, and really want to see the end of this. But you are still watching CNR Extra live from our studios here at number 5 Ola Hansen Lane in Tesano in Accra. This is Citi TV. My name is Neela Tilate, here with Jude Mensa Duncan. Still to come, commuters and drivers call for the immediate reintroduction of the collection of road tolls to avert the rate at which articulator trucks use some lanes leading to toll booths as parking and resting spaces. We'll return with that story with more.
passed by your favorite barbecue place and I got you something.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your pain level?
No, focus, Ayana.
Push harder.
I'm trying.
Oh, you've got to try harder.
I can't. What I think is happening here is the usual bureaucratic nonsense.
They forced their way into the patient's room.
What? And they held the treatment.
No.
For rescuing me from the accident.
To CNR Extra on Citi TV. Let's bring you more stories because some drivers and commuters are really not too articulated truck drivers are using the lanes on some highways in the country following the cessation of the collection of road tolls. What really are their concerns? Let's hear from them.
Drivers are calling for the immediate reintroduction of the collection of road tolls to avert the rate at which articulated trucks use some lanes leading to the toll booths as parking and resting spaces. The government the road scary. Citi News' Kennedy Chumesi and Victoria Bunto have more in the following report read by Charles Osukumi.
When you reach night, they park their cars here. So what we want the government to do is the government should come to come help these people to even at the toll booth. They have to bring the toll booth back.
Musa Muhammad's concern for the immediate reintroduction of the collection of road tolls is in tangent with other drivers and commuters. Before the cessation was effected on November 18, 2021, drivers who used the Tema Toll Plaza on the Accra to Tema motorway used all 6 lanes, but drivers are now forced to use just 3.
This lane has blocked, the other one has blocked. Level, how many? About 3 of them. Left they remove this lane and then leave the other lane cross. It's okay. It's not fine. To me, I don't know, but to me they're so good. Yes.
So how long has this been, the parking? How long, when did it start?
Well, some of them comes, maybe the agent will call them.
I say, come on, Simbi, or Quechi, Abba, Canaba, one say, I never pay, Yaka, Kranaka, Cananya, then. Oh, say, Omo Pomu in Africa, Quadabadana Bibia a day.
Because we say, Hanum, 7 lanes. Now, so that's not for 4.
Oma for my friend, almost if Papa, hanging out with you, started no hanging out fire. Nagasami have said, Hanam Yajma, hanging out fire, at Mika to
The other 3 lanes have been occupied by articulated truck drivers and used as resting spots and parking spaces. Citi News could count about 20 trucks parked on the stretch leading to the Tema Toll Plaza, while some drivers were a truckload of bags of rice to Burkina Faso. Citi News caught up with him when he was getting a nap beside his truck parked on one of the lanes to the Tema Toll Plaza.
But they say you can't park for the motorway top. Why you not park for different places? We can't park for motorway.
Yeah, I think there is no parking place. So when here we can be parking here for the
That's why you can't park for motor.
Yeah.
But you know they park for motor.
Yeah, but you yourself, parking place is not there. So if there is no parking place, we have to park here. Yeah, because of the parking place. So I'm a mate. So to me like this, it's not because there's no parking place for us. So in case when we just came here, we have to park because we can't park on a place that too close. So that's why that we are parking. So when we get parking place, everybody can be parking there, but there is no parking place. We have to be parking here.
Have been removed completely. Electrical lines in the booths have also been disconnected and destroyed. However, even though these articulated truck drivers who have parked on the Tomato Plaza stretch admit wrongdoing, they attributed the cessation of the collection of road tolls as the basis for their actions.
Nti omu yana se tonu sa babaka ya fan se tonu ni wantina eya ya ntimi kanu wa nti eya no muji ko na na waka tulempe ana trile na e haje nti tonu bana se se tonu ba sa ye juma ka se nyina mu mpako ase na ko na adam eti ma stade se traffic mi tia wa obaba o person park na o ko echi benim ono wa choki traffic.
In view of this, commuters want the appropriate authorities to immediately put measures in place to remove the trucks as the government prepares to reintroduce toll collection. They also believe the action, when taken, will prevent the rampant accidents that occur on the stretch.
There are plenty.
They have to tell them something to find somewhere parking. If not, it will lose people's life. Because in this moment like this, they park it. But if it reaches evening like this, then they park at the roadside. Then the road become very quiet.
Government says it is coming this year, but we don't know the exact date that is coming. How soon do you want it?
Like if it has come. About let's say in a year.
It's using it as parking spaces. It's a really major. Accident. RTAs have become one of the contemporary issues in the minister as to what plans the government has to ensure that these things are really put to good use. I don't know if they have to destroy them or there are plans to reintroduce the collection of road tolls, because you know the minority has made that concern known.
Some of us were of the view that at the time when the sector minister announced the cessation of the collection of road tolls, some of us were of the view that that action was quite irresponsible, especially you put it out very well when you say useful. So like the popular maxim goes, when you fail to plan, you of a lack of planning. And I strongly maintain that action at the time was irresponsible, not only because of the effects we are seeing now, but also because of the loss of revenue generation it caused the state. We lost some really good money. So for me, that whole period has sort of become like the stark reality has hit us now. And now seeing the reports of what these toll booths have become now is it's preposterous, really. And for me, it's a ticking time bomb. It's only a matter of time before we realize that something very catastrophic has happened at these toll booths. We pray and hope as soon as possible.
Exactly the point I was coming to, because the responsibility now lies with the authorities in Tema, for example, to ensure that these trucks are moved away from the motorway, because we don't want to record any form of serious accidents.
Complete nuisance.
Yes, on that particular stretch. And so we want to move away from that and then go to the free senior high school resolution centers in the country, because it's been some 3 days since reopening date, and then some first-year students are still having challenges with school placement, And so our cameras took us to the Resolution Center here in Accra, and we have more for you.
Now, some perspective from one senior high school students are yet to begin their second cycle education following challenges with the school placement process. Now, schools reopen on Monday, February 27 for freshers to enroll in their assigned schools. However, some students are yet to sort out their concerns at the various free SHS solution centers for onward placement.
Has reopened for individuals who are going to the second cycle institutions, that is the senior high schools. However, not all prospective students are in school at the moment because of some challenges that these individuals have encountered with regard to the school placement system. Some of them do not have placement at all, and so they have been looking forward to be placed in one school or the other. Others also have schools, but they're calling for status issues amongst other challenges. Well, assurances have been given by the Free SHS Secretariat on it working assiduously to remedy this situation. But some parents are still not happy, and for some of them, they have still been thronging the various resolution centers which have been set. Some parents are calling for to work assiduously and urgently to be able to remedy this challenge. Assiduously and urgently to be able to remedy this challenge.
What was his Institute and soon technical, and I've forgotten the other four. But there's no school for him.
So what's the next step? What's the plan?
Information from here is that schools from Central Region, Eastern, Greater Accra is full. So you have to choose school from other regions. So last time I was here, we choose school from Volta region, 3 schools. But still, we haven't got any response from them.
So on Monday, some parents and capitalizing on the frustrations of parents who coordinator has been given an update on this situation. She has also been calling on parents to move away from giving monies to third parties to
an agent, so we need to know the exact person that he's been working with. So if he sends it to maybe our technical people for them to work it for him or something, we need to know, get to the bottom of it and then fish the person out. Resolving their and then we will make sure we fix them on the system. Maybe they wouldn't get their preferred school, but they'll have to accept any offer that we give them.
Meanwhile, the Department of the Technical and Vocational Institute has also pitched camp at the various resolution centers, and this is to provide individuals who want to acquire knowledge in the technical and vocational sector to also have that opportunity to go to such schools. And we have been getting an update or a briefing on this.
We're recording high turnout for TVET in the whole of the country. Already Greater Accra, the Eastern region, as well. And so far so good. The process has been very being carried out here at the Nat Hall in Accra. Equally, regions being manned by officials of the Free SHS and Free TVET Secretariat.
So the Free SHS Secretariat has indicated that it is going to still pitch camp at the various centers it has already established, at least for 6 weeks, to be able to work or remedy some of these challenges that have come up with regard to the school placement system. Reporting for Citi News, my name is Kweku Ediamansa.
So that's the update from the Free Senior High School Resolution Center at the Nat Hall here in Accra. I would say that quite not surprising because of the way and manner this particular story comes up every year and now. And for me, I may want to back the cause of the Ghana National Association of Teachers. Why am I saying this? Because I think it's been how many years? Some 18 years since the computerized school selection placement system was introduced. And maybe the time is right for us to have some revisions as to how it is done. I don't know how practical that will be, but I want academically inclined to the other, and then you end up seeing a lot of category D schools, C schools, less for students to, you know, select from as self-placement. Why not expand and say, okay, from D we have E, F, G, H, so that the schools that they've seen over the years that students do not actually choose, they are made to choose, so that they are placed every now and then. Because when you go to the placement center, you realize that a lot of people do not want those schools, and once you selected the school, you have to go there. Because I don't know for how long we are going to deal with this particular issue, because the issue is nobody is interested in those kinds of schools, and you not have all students also going in for the
it's another person's school you wouldn't even want to consider. Time and time again, 5,000 students who were left to their fate with regards to self-placement. It was impossible for them to complete the process before the February 20th and 27th deadline that the GES gave for school reopening. It was just impossible, because even people who had their desired schools were still struggling with the whole registration process. You go to the schools, they are not complete. Even on my old boys page, Accra, every now and then I see someone putting a request on how to go about this, how to do this, how to. So I concerns that if the extension for reopening was further, if the date for the extension was further
pushed back.
It is the responsibility of people in leadership to think very broadly about the problems we face. If it was about just going along the same old way of doing things, anybody at all could be GS director. But it's your responsibility to really think about the problem and proffer solutions that will be has to go back to the table again. 27th February is when we are being told 27th February is when proper academic work will begin. But trust
it has already begun actually. Today's first March.
Yeah, but you see, so what? Orientation didn't take place. Orientation was 20th. How many people even went through the orientation process between 20th and 22nd? And these are very key part of the whole academic structure or scope of an individual. So let's not. If it's the first weeks of class, I mean, everything should be orderly, so we are able to get that whole well-trained child we want from our second cycle.
And usually when these things are not resolved, that's what gives rise to people taking advantage of the lapses in the system to, you know, defraud. Want to ensure that that particular person.
That guy do. I mean, I don't know.
The confidence with which he did the thing with.
They just paid $1,000.
I'm actually praying that the Lord deals with him. The Lord deals with him.
Quite unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
Well, you're still watching CNR Extra here on Citi TV. Still to come. Pressure is mounting on the Independent National Electoral Commission of Nigeria to cancel the 2023 presidential election results. If you do stay with us, we'll bring you that story and some others here on CNR Extra. Do not
on the floor.
Yes.
What is it with pig feet? No.
Ghana is a country that's full of historical antecedents. Without a touch of ethnicity. And what is ethnicity if it's not from your village? The season of all things Ghanaian is upon us, and we are here to celebrate an aspect of our Ghanaianness with the Back to Your Village Food Bazaar, happening live from the 25th to the 26th of March 2023 at the forecourt of the Accra Metropolitan 25th and the 26th of March 2023.
Welcome back to CNR Extra. Our last story actually takes us to Nigeria because days after that hotly contested but disputed election, a winner has actually emerged. Bola Tinubu as president-elect of that country, but the Electoral Commission there is under pressure to cancel the results of the electoral polls due to some integrity issues a number of observers have raised.
Nigeria INEC to cancel the 2023 presidential election results. Now, this follows concerns raised over failure of the INEC to upload the results on its platform before collation and announcement. Two of the three leading parties, People's Democratic Party and Labour Party, believe this alleged flaw in the transmission of the results indicts the integrity of the elections. There is more in this report.
It's been 2 days since the Independent National Electoral Commission commenced collation of national presidential to have been announced by the INEC at its collation center in Abuja. Of these 13 states, the APC is leading in 6 of them. In Osun, Yobe, Gombe, and Katsina, Peter Obi INEC is left with over 20 states protests coming from some of the political parties. Caused, for instance, former president was forced to address the nation on some of these
and do everything has no result through server, no result to be acceptable. Whereas beavers manipulated or rendered inactive,
APC's Bola Tinubu has emerged a winner of that election after garnering some 8 million votes actually, as going to one that was then also the latest development from the integrity of the polls, forcing people to call on the electoral management body there to cancel the presidential result. But guess what? We have more on the Nigeria elections right after this show on Nigeria Decides here on Citi TV. So don't go away. Stay with us because we'll be bringing you joining in the discussion today. All right. Thank you for watching the show. This is Citi TV. It's indeed your world.